Elon Musk had just wrapped up his last meeting of the day at the bustling tech hub downtown. As the CEO of a rapidly growing cybersecurity company, his days were packed with calls, deadlines, and long hours of strategy discussions. The pressure to innovate constantly weighed on him. The need to push boundaries and stay ahead of the competition was relentless. He'd spent the entire afternoon locked in a conference room with his team, hashing out the final details of an important software update. Every line of code had been carefully scrutinized, every marketing campaign analyzed, and every contingency discussed. The weight of the day had him feeling mentally drained, craving something simple yet satisfying, something he could savor without worrying about algorithms or the next big project. He stepped out of his office building, the cool evening breeze brushing against his face, offering a brief but welcome respite from the chaos of the office. The city's skyline stretched out before him, the lights flickering like fireflies in the distance, a reminder of the fast-paced world that never stopped moving. Yet tonight, he felt detached from it all, almost as if he were walking in a different world, one that had slowed down for just a moment. The air was crisp and fresh, the sound of distant traffic fading into the background. Elon looked around, feeling the weight of his responsibilities ease ever so slightly. He wasn't sure what exactly he was searching for, but he knew he needed a change. He wanted to slip away from the polished, high-tech environments of his usual haunts, find somewhere that felt real and unpretentious, and breathe in something that wasn't wrapped in corporate ambition. As Elon walked down the street, he glanced at the familiar lineup of high-end restaurants, places he'd been 1,000 times, each more upscale than the last. He could already imagine the white tablecloths, the carefully curated wine lists, and the expensive cuts of meat that seemed to be the standard of every high-end dining establishment. But tonight, none of them seemed right. They were places where everything was designed to impress, where the ambiance was tailored to make you feel like you were part of something important. But tonight, Elon just wanted something quiet, something real, something authentic, something that wasn't about status or luxury. He felt the need to unwind, to slow down, and remind himself that there was more to life than meetings, deadlines, and the next big breakthrough. And that's when he spotted it. Tucked between two modern glass buildings was a small family-owned Mexican restaurant. It was almost invisible, sandwiched between the flashy spots, but there was something about it that caught his eye. The sign above the door, simple yet inviting, read La Casita. The warm golden glow spilling from the windows contrasted sharply with the cold, fluorescent lights of the other businesses around it. It looked homey, humble, and above all, welcoming. It didn't have the sleek, polished exterior of the other restaurants, nor did it try to stand out. Instead, it seemed to exist quietly in the background, as if it had been there for years, offering good food to those who knew how to find it. It was the kind of place Elon needed right now, no frills, no pretension, just warmth and comfort. He found himself drawn to it, almost instinctively, as if his mind was telling him to take a detour from his usual habits. Curious, he crossed the street and approached the door. As he stepped inside, the earthy smell of freshly baked tortillas, slow-cooked meats, and sizzling spices immediately surrounded him, making his stomach rumble. It was the kind of aroma that instantly made you feel at home, like you were stepping into the kitchen of someone who cared deeply about the food they were preparing. The interior was small, with wooden tables covered in checkered cloths, each table holding a simple candle flickering softly in the dim light. The walls were adorned with hand-painted murals of Mexican landscapes, vibrant scenes of fields, markets, and families gathered together. There was a soft hum of conversation, a quiet mariachi tune playing in the background, blending perfectly with the sounds of sizzling food from the kitchen. The ambience was cozy, like stepping into someone's home, not a fancy restaurant designed for show. It was the kind of place where people came to feel relaxed, to enjoy a meal without distractions. Elon felt an immediate sense of calm wash over him. This was exactly what he had been searching for. Behind the counter stood an older couple. The man, with a thick moustache and a well-worn apron, was carefully flipping tortillas on the griddle, his movements slow but precise, as if he had done this 1,000 times. His hands, though weathered, moved with the confidence of someone who had perfected the art of making tortillas. His wife, a petite woman with a warm smile, was stirring a large pot on the stove, her hands moving with practiced ease as she stirred the ingredients, adding just the right spices to create the perfect flavor. At a corner table, a teenage boy was doing his homework, his books spread out before him, occasionally glancing up to check the progress of his parents' work. A little girl, no older than 10, was wiping down the counter, her small hands expertly polishing the glasses. The whole family seemed to be in sync, working together in harmony, each member contributing in their own way to the success of the restaurant. It was clear that this was not just a business to them, it was a family endeavor, something they all poured their hearts into. When Elon stepped through the door, the family's heads turned toward him, their eyes wide for a split second. They must have wondered if they were seeing things. It wasn't every day that someone like Elon Musk walked into their small, quiet restaurant. They stood still for a moment, almost frozen, unsure of how to react. Elon wasn't just any customer. He was a high-profile businessman, someone who was accustomed to being in the spotlight. Yet here, in this humble place, he was just another guest, a stranger among familiar faces. Elon scanned the room, unsure of where to sit, suddenly feeling a little out of place. This wasn't the kind of spot where people would expect a tech billionaire to stroll in after hours, but there was something about the place that made him feel comfortable. He noticed the family still watching him, but there was warmth in their surprise. It wasn't a look of judgment or awe, just genuine curiosity. They seemed curious, but also welcoming. The tension in the air quickly faded, replaced by a kind of mutual understanding. A middle-aged man sitting near the entrance caught their gaze and turned around, his eyebrows shooting up in disbelief when he recognized Elon. "Mr. Musk, right?" the man stammered, standing up quickly, almost knocking over his chair. "Please take my seat." He waved his hand urgently, clearly in awe that such a famous person was standing in their restaurant. Elon chuckled, shaking his head with a smile. "Thank you, but I'm sure there's room for me somewhere else." He gave the man a friendly wave. "Please enjoy your meal." The man nodded vigorously, his face still flushed with excitement. He sat back down, clearly pleased to have even had a chance to speak to Elon, the billionaire who had changed the tech world. Elon was used to people recognizing him, but something about the simplicity of the moment, the quiet, genuine hospitality, made him feel more grounded. Just then, the woman behind the counter stepped forward. She wiped her hands on her apron and walked over to Elon, her face breaking into a warm, welcoming smile. "Please come this way," she said softly, her voice calm and kind. She gestured to a small table by the window, tucked into a cozy corner. "We'll make you comfortable." Elon followed her, grateful for the hospitality. As she pulled out the chair for him, an unexpected but kind gesture, he couldn't help but feel a little out of place. It had been a while since someone had treated him with such simple warmth, without any ulterior motive or expectations. He settled into the chair, the comfort of the restaurant sinking in as he inhaled deeply. The air smelled like home, the kind of scent you'd associate with a home-cooked meal shared with family. He felt instantly at ease. The woman smiled again, her eyes twinkling with pride. "Would you like some homemade horchata while you wait for your meal?" Elon nodded, his interest piqued. "That sounds perfect," he replied, settling in and letting the moment of peace wash over him. "And if it's not too much trouble, could you recommend something special from the menu?" He had come to trust his instincts when it came to good food, and he was certain that whatever this family served would be just what he needed. With a gentle laugh, the woman disappeared into the kitchen, and moments later, her young daughter appeared with a clay cup of horchata. The creamy drink was warm, steam rising from the surface, and the sweet aroma of cinnamon and vanilla filled the air. Elon took a sip, and the cool, creamy texture immediately put him at ease. The smooth drink was exactly what he needed, refreshing and soothing after such a long, stressful day. It felt like a small gift, a token of hospitality that made him feel truly valued, something that was hard to find in the whirlwind of his usual busy life. A few minutes later, the woman returned with her husband by her side, both of them carrying a steaming platter of food.